kind of the topic of the show today was we asked ChatGPT, what are the 10 things the average person in 2025 should know about the real estate market here in St. Louis? So, I mean, the first thing it said was that, if you need a mortgage, you should call Pat Doyle. And if
Or
you,
as an agent, you hire Zach. So
Yeah,
obviously ChatGPT knows
they
what
just know.
it knows. It knows what the hell it's talking about.
It's
It's great.
That's funny that that's the first thing it said.
Right? Exactly. Talk to Zach and Pat.
Yeah. Anything house related, talk to Zach and Pat. We'll help you out.
Yeah.
But then the second thing that it came up with was home prices are still rising, just not as fast.
Correct.
Which is all true.
I think the last 2 years we've been around 7%. Historically, I think the average for Missouri is 3.4, and I think right now we're at about 4.8. So still appreciating. The home values are still rising, just not as fast.
Yeah, but still 4.8% is still awesome.
And like here's the thing, is like I saw this post from a very well known financial advisor. He's very active on social media. He knows his shit. And I don't think he was posting it to talk about not buying homes, but he was talking about it to understand the true cost of buying homes in terms of interest, which I don't think a lot of people realize. Like interest is front loaded on a mortgage. You're paying way more interest up front than you are principal. But what he did, like he's talking about, hey, these people really need to advise that, which I talk to my clients about. But at the same time, like you also have to realize the appreciation factor of it. So like, the last couple of years, if we've been averaging about 7% and rates have been around about 7%, like you're still like that net cost really isn't there because you're picking up the appreciation of what it is that you're actually paying in interest. So, it helps offset that cost that he's talking about. But, and obviously when rates are still where they're at and we're only seeing 4.8, like obviously, you're going to have a little bit more cost than what you're actually going to appreciate at, but it's still cutting into that. So.
100%. And rent is 100% interest. So.
Right. Exactly. Right. And that's the thing too, is like, I mean, it was a house that you sold that I did the loan on last year. They just sold it this year. And they walked away with $3,000. So they still made money. On it. Even after paying out commissions and all that. Like it appreciated enough to where they walked away and they didn't have to come to the table with any money.
Yeah, and I mean, and no one would advise, like it's definitely if you're gonna buy a house and only live there for a year before you want to sell it, like
shouldn't buy.
Nobody's gonna advise that.
Right.
Like that's not a good decision. But like if you're gonna stay in a house for 5 years,
I would say make it your goal to 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, at minimum.
At a minimum.
Because it's like whenever you sell, there's a lot more costs. You got agent commissions. And chances are you might have to do some repairs, and like there's all sorts of things that that can
go into it.
That go into it. So you got to prepare for those costs because it's like So yeah, I mean, people all the time will like call me and they'll say like oh, Zillow says my house is worth $300,000, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it might be, and then like, well, man, my loan balance is. I bought the house for $225 4 years ago, and I'm like, okay, well, great, but that's awesome, yeah, and you definitely have some equity, but there's like $75,000 there that you're not just going to make $75,000 on. Right. That's not how that works. Right. Like, there's a lot of costs, and
I think too, what people don't realize, I get this call a lot, like, hey, we just sold, like we're selling our house, but like it shows our mortgage balance is this, but the payoff on it was higher. What's that? I was like, well, kind of go back to what we talk about is when you make your monthly payment for like, okay, we got August payment coming up. You go to make August payment, you're paying the principal in August, but you're paying the interest from July. So like if you're going to sell your house in August and you haven't made your August payment yet, you've got 30 days of interest for July that's getting added into that payoff. So that's why that can look higher. So they're like, well, do we make our payment? I was like, it's a trade-off. I mean, either way,
you're not getting out of paying that money.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, so either you pay it now or it's going to come out of your proceeds.
Right. So it's like, hey, you're going to make the payment. So yeah, you're going to pay the principal down a little bit. So you'll get that money back. But and then the interest that you're paying, it's either going to get, if you don't make the payment, it's either going to be part of your payoff, or it's going to be that interest you're going to have it paid for August. So you don't have to worry about that daily interest for July, and you're only paying. So if you close August 5th, you only have 5 days of daily interest being added to your payoff versus, July's 31 days. So 36 days of daily interest added into your payoff. And when you only own the home for a year, that
Yeah,
daily. It's a lot
mostly interest.
of interest. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's why you always advise, make one additional payment to the principal per year.
yep.
Knock about 7 years, dude. It's funny. I went to, we did had a closing the other week or last week, and it was with the lender was a big box bank, one I'm not a fan of, and of course, loan officer's not going to be there at the closing. But I'm fucking spitting Pat Doyle lines out of, like, I've sat at so many closings with
right?
you at this point. Like, I know all the
Oh,
little
yeah.
things you say.
Well,
And
it's
so I'm like, I'm saying like,
Yeah.
make one extra principal or payment toward the principal per year, knock about 7 years off your loan.
yeah. Well, and that's
and-
the thing too, is like you mentioned that they didn't go to their closings, but like I had a closing this morning and I showed up to the title company and I was the first one there. And they're like, I was like, oh, closing on so-and-so avenue. And they're like, okay, are you the buyer? I'm like, no, I'm the lender. Like, what? Like, what? You're here? I'm like, well, yeah, come to all my closings.
It's killing
And they're like,
kills me.
they're like, oh, wow, that no, we hardly ever see loan officers anymore. I'm like, why the loan officers? Quit being fucking lazy. Go to your closings. Like,
yeah. I mean,
seriously.
half in like, I mean, if you look at the stack of documents that they have to sign,
Right.
that buyers have to sign, 3/4 of it is usually the loan documents,
Yeah.
like, and it's like, dude, and that's not what the title person does.
No.
They don't understand.
And every
what
lender might have
different
like their
stuff
docs can be the same, but they're going to look different. They might have some docs that are different that are specific to that mortgage company. Like, go to your closing.
Yeah, and I mean this explains why you have such a great client retention that you do,
Right.
and such a great referral network, because you seem to fucking care. You actually care.
Yeah.
And you show that you care by showing the fuck up.
Right.
It's not that hard.
Right.
Like, just show up for that one, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That doesn't take a lot out of your day.
Yeah.
You're making a commission on it. Look at it as a part of, what you're making.
Right. And so talk about caring. I had to go off on I went off on an agent this morning because I had two at the same time. One in Chesterfield, one in Swansea. The one in Chesterfield, third time I've helped this client. My assistant was covering it. I told the guy ahead of time, like, hey, I'm sorry I can't be there. I wish I could be there. I've got a first-time home buyer in Swansea that I need to be there so I can really explain this. This is your third time going through this process. You've talked to Mitch, Mitch, my assistant, but you're in Chesterfield, so you're on his way into the office. I'm not going to make him drive all the way over to Illinois to do this closing. I'm going to do that one. He's going to be there for that. Like, I talked to Mitch afterwards. I'm like, how'd it go? He's like, honestly, it went really great, but the agent made some stupid fucking comment, like, about you not being there and about how, like, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, now I got to call the client again and tell him, like, hey, dude, I do care. Like, it's not that I don't care about you, but like I said, I know you and I have already had this conversation, but I just want to reiterate, like, what your agent said is bullshit. And I hope you don't take that to heart, because I worked my ass off for you, like, multiple times. Like, you wouldn't be coming back to me if you didn't. I really appreciate you coming back, but I just want you to know that that's not true.
God, fuck that agent.
Oh, I called his ass. I'm like, and I was just like, hey,
talking shit.
Well, I wanted to. I'm like, and I was just like, and that's the thing. I'm just like, I was talking to my assistant who covered the closing, and he said it was going really well, but you made a comment and it really rubbed him the wrong way, and he told me, and it actually is rubbing me the wrong way, and it's very unprofessional, because you don't know the conversation that I already had with the client to explain to him. But he basically was like saying how it's unprofessional that I wasn't there, and that I should have picked him over my other clients, and that it's kind of like very backhanded, passive aggressive bullshit. And so I called him out on it, and I'm like, dude, like, you want to talk about being professional? Can we talk about what you did during this transaction? The fact that I had to get all the documents from the listing agent and the client, and that I couldn't get shit from you.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like, you really want to go, I was like, and then finally I was like, you know what? After thinking about the way you handled this transaction, I'm not surprised that you'd make an unprofessional comment like that. He's like, whoa. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm going to be okay. Good luck with your business. And hopefully we don't cross paths again. And that, like, oh, I was pissed.
Yeah, clearly.
I was pissed.
Fuck that dude.
Fucking talk shit about me not caring or showing up to a closing. But anyway, enough on that rant.
Yeah. Well, next one, this is good for the buyers out there.
Correct.
Inventory is creeping up, but it's still tight.
Yes.
You know, that's why. That's why we've seen the market that we have over the last several years.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy this morning at the gym, and he's like, "Yeah, that's everybody asks,
Right,
how's the
how
market?"
market?
And I was like, "Hey, man, it's still kind of the way it's been. Like I haven't seen a ton of change.
Yeah.
At least in the last few years, at least not in my business. Things are. It's like it's still a great day to be a seller. Not always the best day to be a buyer.
Right.
But you can find deals out there. And
You're
you just
seeing
have to,
more of it. I think the last 3 contracts I've had, homes have been on the market for a little bit longer and have either got it for under list or they got it at list with closing costs covered, things like that. Like, it's definitely, you're definitely starting to see more of it.
certainly possible.
Yeah.
It's just it's the ones that are priced. It's totally on how you price it. If you
Correct.
price it appropriately, and even a little bit below what it's probably worth, you're probably going to get multiple offers, and it's probably going to go over what you would have listed it for.
Mhm.
That's if the sellers are going to trust their agent on that kind of strategy, that's kind of been tried and true for me.
Mhm.
And if you're on the selling side, but if you're on the buying side, and and you get someone that comes out too hot on the price on that first couple weeks, and it's sitting for 10 days, 12 days, 2 weeks, that's opportunity for you to jump in and get it, hit them with a low ball.
Yeah.
Why not? That's
Right.
what I always tell my clients. It's like the worst thing I can tell you is no.
Right. And the biggest area that we've seen listings go up are condos.
Really?
Yeah. There's so much shakeup with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in terms of how condos are looked at these days that it makes it really, really hard to get approvals for them. And so, they're some people are losing the value on them from what they might break even. Like, it's tough. Like, so that's the thing is as these rules and regulations tighten, it's going to be tougher to get those condos sold. So if you do have a condo, it might be either a good idea to look to see if you can turn it into a rental property.
So many of those you can't.
I know, and that's the thing. And
That sucks,
if
though.
not, you got to make sure that because like it all has to do with certain insurance coverages and making sure that they've got enough in reserves to cover certain things, as well as there's specific policies that need to be put in place that basically will jack up the premium, which gets turned into seeing a major increase in these HOA fees. So like, I remember when I first got in the business, like a $250 to $300 HOA fee was really, really high.
Pretty standard now, man.
That if you can find that's
cheap.
That's low.
Yeah.
There was one that I saw that was like $700. I'm just like, yeah,
dude,
it's insane.
On top of your mortgage,
Right?
Like,
and
for what?
Right, and
for a pool for 4 months out of the year.
It's no longer, condos have, and it's unfortunate.
Maybe a gym if you're lucky.
Right, condos were kind of that, like, hey, into home ownership, like entry into home ownership, and getting used to having that play, like owning a home, and it was affordable, but we're not seeing that anymore. It's unfortunate, and the ones that are really getting hurt right now are the people that own condos. So if you got a condo, plan on being there for a little while longer.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. So
is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Next one. Still, it's kind of just creeps on. We just
about?
kind of just talking about still a seller's market, but buyers have a voice now.
Yep.
Homes are moving in 21 to 39 days, with roughly 41% selling over asking and 43% selling below asking. Yeah, that seems pretty accurate to what we were just saying.
Yeah. So what does it say? This tells us sellers still have leverage, but aggressive over asking offers are no longer required to win.
Well, it just depends on the house,
right?
If you got
beautiful house, it's
listed a little bit low.
Right.
Like, expect, if you do it right, you're going to get multiple.
Especially in that, like, that 250 to 400 price point.
Dude, 100%. It's
like
200 to 400.
That's like the new first time home
that's
buyer.
That's been my bread and butter lately.
Yeah.
My last 4 listings have all been, like that high 200s, low 300s, and every single one, and hopefully the one this weekend, has gone for anywhere between 15 and 40 grand over, which has been fucking awesome. But
it just goes in with that strategy.
Yeah, you gotta. It's most people are are pretty scared. You know, they're definitely nervous when I tell them like, "Hey, I think we could probably get this for it, but we need to list it here."
Right.
Like they're like, "Why would we do that?"
Right.
Just trust me.
Yeah.
And you know, there's some people who don't have that trust with you, and they just want to, nope, this is the price I want. We're
Yep.
gonna list it there. And okay, well then maybe we get a couple of people interested. But if we list it low, we're gonna get, you know, like my one this past weekend, I think we had like 28 private showings. I did a 2 hour open house and I had 23 people through. You know, I mean
That's a lot.
that's a busy open house.
Right.
You know, and those are only the people. That's the 23 people that wrote their name down
Right.
on my sign-in sheet, and there was probably 3 or 4 more that, you know, that slipped by me, or you
Right.
know, or they had an agent and I just didn't have them sign in.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just, you know, it's all about where you price it, man.
Yeah.
Goes right into the
with those open houses. There's always like a way to get people like sign in. I saw a post is like, hey, listen, we don't know who you are.
Yeah, you're gonna walk through a random house,
right? I need to before I can let you in. I need some basic information in case something happens.
Some people fucking fight you on this shit, dude.
Just be like, I'm sorry, you can't come in.
So I'm like, sorry. I told the seller I would get everybody's information that came through their house.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You need to sign in.
Yeah. If not,
if something's missing or something happens, I need to know who's in this house. You know, like that is what it is. You know, I mean, people are trusting me with a, you know, $300,000 piece of piece of real estate.
Flip it and just flip it. Like, listen, if you owned a home that you were selling, would you feel comfortable with just a bunch of random people walking through and not have any way, if something was taken or stolen, not saying that you are, but if something was taken or stolen, that you would be able to have a list of contact information
to find out who the people were that were in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you're asking for a lot here,
right,
lady. I'm asking for your name, phone number, email.
Right.
Like,
and here's the thing. And if you tell me, if you write on there that you don't want me to solicit to you, I'm not going to solicit to you. Yeah. I'm not going to put you on a drip campaign. I'm not going to do all that. I just need to know in case something happens.
100%. It's just so frustrating. Some people fight you so hard on
just,
that. Dude.
Don't come in then.
Like, yeah.
Are you going to buy this house? Probably not. Leave.
Yeah, leave.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're just a nosy neighbor or whatever. Like,
right.
Annoying. I mean, I don't mind nosy neighbors because nosy neighbors have been awesome in a lot of my and I suggest if you're a house around you selling, like go check out the house, go scope out the neighbors, go see what, you know, get a good idea of what the houses around you are selling for, what the houses look like. Like I recently just you know, I have my next door neighbor's 15 years old, and I have him actually I need to go print off more before I leave here. But dude, he's
have him run the neighborhood,
running the neighborhood and putting envelopes on. He's scotch taping an envelope with, you know, a little letter about who I am and where I, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, you know, and just a sheet of comps for everything that's sold in our neighborhood for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you know, I've yet to sell a house in my own neighborhood since we moved there 2 years ago. So I'm like, but I see for sale signs going up all the time. I'm like, fuck, you know, like I got to get one of these. So
eventually,
yeah, I'm gonna get one. Yeah. So I have him just, you know, I'm paying him hourly to go and ride his bike around and put envelopes on doors. But
remember, people work with who they like, know, and trust. They just might not
not know me yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I know.
Start having block parties.
We've been talking about that because the guy up the street, one of the guys up the street, has an industrial sized bounce house.
Oh, I've got one of those too. If you need it, my
Really?
kids don't. Well, I don't know if it made it over in the move or not, but it's massive. It's
really?
Yeah. It's about.
I mean, our street's like perfect for a block party. You know, I mean, it's just like a dead end cul-de-sac street. I feel like we could do a sweep. I mean, and we're such good friends with most of our neighbors. It would be a good time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think at one point, I got it during COVID, and it was like Amazon was running a sale on this massive thing I got for like $200.
Really?
Yeah, and whenever we would have parties for the neighborhood, because there's so many little kids. Yeah, I mean, I think at one point there was like 10 little kids on this thing.
Sweet.
Yeah, it had the slide and all that stuff. It was just like a giant box, like a ring.
Well, yeah, and we found out what he paid for it, and Gina was like, "This is like," she's like, "I think I got a business idea."
Right.
She's like, "We could, and like, you could rent this thing out for, you know, I think it was like $200 an hour or something is what people were charging for this." And I'm like, "Okay," so we go buy this, and she was like looking at this one that was like $800 or something, and we're like, "Okay, well, we use it for, you know, we sell it, get 4 hours worth of time, and it's kind of paid for." And like, I'm like, well, okay, what's the setup like? What's the fucking dragging this thing around? You know, like there's probably a lot more than meets the eye on this.
Actually, I mean, it really is not that bad. Like in terms of like once it, like obviously when you blow it up, it's massive. But I mean, because that was the thing. Like I bought it the day we closed on the house because we didn't have any furniture, and it wasn't furniture at the time because it was taking so long during COVID. Was taking weeks to get in. well, I got this thing on Amazon to my house in like 2 days. And that was like all it was that was in our living room. Was
You just blew the bounce house up inside?
Yeah. Perfect. The ceilings were 12 feet tall. So it went,
Yeah.
it went, cause it was, total height wise with everything. I want to say it was like 8 feet tall.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But it was like a 12 by 12,
Okay.
like a rink or like
Yeah. Box.
Box. And it had a slide and all that to it. And I mean,
Oh, man.
just the
Kids were just fucking loving
yeah,
it.
the hardest part was like trying to keep it in one place. Cause they go, they go like, and next thing you know, or like making sure it doesn't tip, like things like that. Cause on this hardwood floor, it's just sliding all over the place.
Around.
So
yeah, dude, that's awesome.
But
what's the next one? Are we on?
We're on
affordability.
Yeah, affordability is a bright spot.
Is a bright spot. You know, St. Louis is one of a few large metros where housing costs remain under 30% of household income.
Yep.
So, you know, that's a great thing about here in Missouri. It's definitely one of the cheapest places in the country to live.
Yeah. And here's the thing is when you start, like, don't listen to the national averages. I always, like, whether you're in St. Louis or somewhere else, you can look up what the average median income is for your area. All you have to do, so Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, they have these income lookup tools. So you type in Freddie Mac income lookup tool, and you can literally type in any zip code, any address, anything you want, and it'll tell you what the average median income is for that area. And you take that average median income and, you know, you kind of, you can do some calculations out to kind of see what kind of monthly payment that income can afford. And then you determine like, hey, what's the average sales price? So like here in Missouri or in St. Louis specifically, the average household income is $111,000. The average sales price is what? Just under 300, or is it over 300 now?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, well, this said, and I don't exactly, I mean, this is not me checking.
Right.
This is what Chat GPT said. Said Zillow estimate for sale listings is around 264.9. And then if you're including like the whole St. Louis area, and now that's including a bunch of areas in like North City where, you know, things are a lot cheaper. You know, 187 is what it's saying, but that's including those. But now if you do like,
so this was from, let's see. So from September of 2024, this is saying that the St. Louis Metropolitan Statistical Area, so the MSA for St. Louis, which covers St. Louis City, County, Jefferson County, St. Charles County, was at 207. That was September. It was 270,000.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So at 200, on, even if you're putting the minimum down on 270,000, you're looking at a monthly payment roughly with taxes, insurance, and everything, probably around $2,600. If you're making, to keep the math simple, so if you're making 111, if the household income is 111,000 and you don't have too much debt, so 111,000 divided that by 12, you could qualify for a $2,800 a month payment based on that. So it is still affordable for people to buy with minimum money down at the average sales price house in St. Louis.
Yeah. You can't say that about a lot of places in the U.S.
No. I mean, and why do you think we have so many investors? I mean, I got like 3 or 4 of them that are from California. Like, hey, I want to buy real estate.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You can't buy a $200,000 house.
No. And these people are paying,
California.
8% interest for an investment property.
All day.
Yeah, all day. Because even with the monthly payments, they're still going to make in rent plus appreciation.
Yeah. And that's the thing about rental property, man. Like, you don't, you know, I was telling Gina this the other day, and, you know, I'm like, you know, because we're looking at one to buy, and you know, I mean, we're going to make a little bit of cash flow. I mean, it's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be somewhere between $300 and $400 a month, which is great. You know, like that's not like you don't buy. I mean, the money is in the appreciation. Like,
correct.
That's where the money. You know, like yes, sure, a couple of $100 a month is cool, but like the real true money with real estate is the appreciation.
Right.
You know, because I mean, we look at. You know, I look at one of my rent. You know, it was me and Gina's first house that we bought together. I mean, we've owned it since 2018. We bought it for $151,000, and now it's. I mean, we could sell it for probably $250, $260, and that's only in 7 years.
Yeah,
like that's pretty
right.
awesome.
Not to mention, so like
what I've paid the loan down, and you know, I mean, I don't even know what the balance is on it, but
right. And so you look at like stocks. So in order to for this to make sense, you would have to buy a stock that pays a dividend, because not all stocks pay dividends, meaning they'll pay you out a certain percentage of what it is that you make per month or per year or whatever. And then you've got the growth on what it grows to. And so on the return on your investment. So if you have a stock, most stocks, I mean, if you talk to any financial advisor, let's just assume 7% growth, it's not really what it is, but okay. But is that paying out a dividend? Probably not. So where are you going to find an asset that you can buy that's going to appreciate? So according to this, 4.8%, which could fluctuate, especially if rates drop, and pay you a dividend of a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
Not very many.
No. And there's just something about having a tangible asset, I think, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever since we had that conversation with Bill Brown, it still makes me want to go buy some gold.
Yeah. For sure.
Just to like have it.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool because you can just
right. Just like fucking look at that.
You got
cool
it.
bar. Yeah.
I got it. And it's just like a cool thing.
Or you put it in the safe and you like watch those old treasure movies and they open it up.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, and it's like you're yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like your face is like lit up with gold.
And it's just blocks and blocks and blocks of
gold. I don't think I can afford that
right.
yet, Pat, but
no,
yeah, let's not act like I got that kind of money.
Right. No, that'd be like, that's still really cool.
Fuck yeah. And just like, I think diversifying like that's cool.
Right.
Like, I mean, I've got money in the stock market, I've got money in
Same.
real estate, but like, that's pretty much it.
Right.
Like the other thing I've been, just because I listen to another podcast with this guy just always talking about Bitcoin, and I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, man, but I'm like, so that's another thing. I'm like, I don't understand it, to be honest with you. Like, I've had people explain it to me so many fucking times, and I'm like, I'm too stupid to get this, I think.
Well, and I remember one of my brother's buddies was talking to me about buying Bitcoin, like right when it first came out. He goes, oh, this is going to be the way of the future, blah, blah, blah. Like, you should do it. And I'm like, reading into it, I'm like, but now I wish I did.
I know, 100%, because I think it's worth like 100 now.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's like close to 100
Yeah.
or at 100. And
something like that.
But like, I remember, not that long ago, it was at 70 or whatever. And I was like, fuck, I don't know. I just don't get it, but whatever.
Rent growth is steady. So, like you mentioned before, the interest rate on rent is 100%.
Yes, it is.
And it is continuing to go up. So one of the misconceptions is your house payment when you own a home will never change. And that's true for the principal and interest portion, but taxes and insurance can always change. So that can always go up. But that's the same way for rent. So if your taxes or insurance are going up, you're having to pay higher rent.
For sure.
And so, as that rent payment creeps up, that's just that much more you're giving away and paying someone else's mortgage versus paying your own and building equity.
Yep.
So, but again, buying is not for everybody. We just had Gil just kind of put on our yearly little seminar about this to talk about products and things like that. And, that's the thing is like, it's not for everybody. We'd like to try and make it for everybody, but I mean, if you're not going to be there for 3 to 5 years and, you can't afford a payment that you want for a house that you want, then don't buy. I always tell my clients, like, they get pre-approved, or we're looking, like the other night I was talking with somebody, clients of ours. And I was just telling them, I'm like, and they're like, oh, well, we were thinking about a year from now. And I was like, great. They're like, yeah, but what if we see, I'm like, here's the thing. You're talking about, you wanted to see what it would look like if you put an extra $10,000 down. It was like $75 a month and what it saved them. I'm like, it's not worth it, in my opinion, to save $75 to pay $10,000 more. Not worth it. Keep the money, but if you're trying to get to a monthly payment and a sales price that you want, if you can't do that yet, then don't buy. Or if you find a house and you're like willing to budge a little bit on that monthly payment and you're comfortable with it, then do it. But don't buy just to buy. This is not the market to buy just to buy. Mm-hmm. This is a market to buy that you're going to be in for a little bit.
Sure.
So,
no, yeah. And that's, I wouldn't advise, like we said earlier, I wouldn't advise anybody to if you're not going to stay in the house for 3 to 5 years, don't buy. It's not
worth it.
No, it's not you're not, if you want to sell, then you might not recoup all your money.
Unless you're house hacking.
Yes, that's, yeah.
Unless you're house hacking, which I just like sat down and looked at some of the programs that we have. And
man, because you're,
Yeah. So if you're a first time home buyer, or if you make currently less than $88,900, You can go in, buy a house for at 250,000 or less. We will give you 2% of your down payment. So you're coming in with 1%. You happen to negotiate with the sellers. So like, say you buy a $250,000 house, or you can find a duplex for 250,000. All right. You're coming in, and if you get the sellers to cover closing costs or anything like that, you could essentially buy a house for $250,000 or for $2,500. That's it. Now, let's say you buy a house for 300. We're still going to give you 5,000 towards your down payment. So if you've got to come in with 3%, okay, you're coming in with $4,000 to buy a $300,000 house. You can get the seller, negotiate the sellers to cover closing costs. Okay, you bought a house for $4,000. Okay, you rent out the other units, or even if you buy a single family house and you're young and you've got buddies, rent out the rooms. Right,
that's still house hacking.
Exactly, still house hacking, cutting down your payment, and then once you leave or be there for a year. And guess what? If your income's still below $88,900, you get to use the same program again. You could buy another house for 1% down. And you could literally do this until you can do this until you can only have 2 mortgages. So yeah, you could do this like 2 or 3 times.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So, actually, no, you could do it. You could continue to do it, but instead of being able to put 1% down, you'd have to put 5% down. So, okay, you come in with 3% down now, and you get the rest of the money towards your down payment. There you go.
Yeah.
Still buying properties for cheap and building up a rental.
It's the cheapest way you can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was, a young or a single guy without a family, that's most certainly what I would be doing. It's just I couldn't get my wife and kids on board to go move into a duplex in the city.
Right.
Right. Like that would be
for
as much as I would do it, as much as I would love to like do that, for 5 years and just do one a year like that, like just is not realistic for my life right now. But if I would have been in this industry and had this knowledge 10 years ago, that's what I'd be doing. But, you live and you learn, but for all you young guys out there listening, it's a great strategy, what Pat just said. So if you're wanting to get into real estate investing, man, that's like the best way, in my opinion. Like house hacking, I mean, it's hard to lose on that. It really is. As long as you make sure that, whether it's a duplex and you're renting out one of the units or, you're renting it to your buddies, just make sure that, you're renting to good quality people and, do your homework on them and, get a background check and a credit check. And, you can look up, past evictions and stuff like that. So just do your homework and make sure that you're renting to good people. But man, if you do that, it's hard to lose, man.
Or just see if you can get tied into like what you do with the hospitals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my parents did it. They had a condo in the Central West End, and this was back before any of this was going on, but they owned this condo in the Central West End, beautiful condo. And they partnered with Anheuser-Busch and Nestle Purina and things like that. So whenever they would have like big wigs that would need to come in for a couple months at a time or things like that, they would call my mom and dad and they would rent that place out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just had a new person move in this past, she just moved in on Monday. So
Nice.
yeah, she's only been there a couple days now. And yeah, her, it's this time, I had a couple nurses interested, but this lady, she wanted a longer stay because her house just burned down in North County. And, put a thing in there, no candles, because that's how it burned down.
Oh no!
Yeah, she had a candle and it got tipped over and she didn't realize it, and she came back and her whole house was engulfed. And went on a walk with her dogs and came back and the whole house was engulfed in flames.
No one was there.
Yeah, it's just poor lady. But yeah, her and her daughter, but they're in my place for 6 months, but probably going to be longer than that.
Nice.
Because chances are they're not going to rebuild a new house for her in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So. But yeah, it's all through insurance, which is cool because it's like a guaranteed direct deposit every month, which is cool from the insurance company. So it's like, I mean, I think she's a good quality tenant. I did my homework on her, but like, I don't think we would have had an issue. But it's just nice to know that it's guaranteed every month, which is sweet. And I think most of the rest of these are pretty
similar
or stuff that we've much talked about.
Yeah, so like Missouri is still a bargain, which we covered under the affordability.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good solid episode for today. Yeah. So thank you guys to anybody that tuned in today. If you got anything out of the show, if you have anybody that's considering buying a property here in St. Louis, or you got something out of this episode, share it with a friend. We'd love to help them out if they're here local to St. Louis, and even if they're not, I can connect you with agents all over the country. So, um, yeah, and if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, please do so. That would help us out a ton. Click that like button as well. Comment what you thought below, and we'll see you next time.